What's up, everybody? Hope y'all are doing good. So, some of you guys that are from the southeastern United States or have family down there or just are familiar with that area in general probably can relate to this and will know what I'm talking about if you were down there this past week. I live in South Carolina. I live down kind of in the Midlands of South Carolina near the Georgia border area, Savannah River. So, we got hit very hard down here by Hurricane Helene. We actually had winds of almost 100 miles an hour. I think they said 95 was what they reached here in the area that I live in. And I've never seen wind like that in my life. This was just something I don't think that many of us were expecting. It took me by surprise, and the town that I live in, it took us all it just shocked us all afterwards. Because, the day before, the winds and stuff really started setting in. It was a lot of rain and a lot of flooding. My front yard was, I had about 3 inches deep of water and up against the house. It was not far from, coming in the front door. And then after that day, we went to bed that night, y'all, and I woke up probably about 4 a.m. in the morning, and I got up, went and sat in the living room, and I noticed the lights started flickering, and I could kind of hear the wind whistle, and I thought to myself, I was like, well, I might go to the gym because I like to go early in the morning, and I was like, well, I'm going to get out and ride around and just see how this storm is, because I really wasn't expecting much. And so I got out and I was riding around and looking, and it was dark, and there was a bunch of pine needles in the road, and some of the trees were moving back and forth, and it was probably very stupid on my part. But I don't know much about hurricanes. But I got back home and I thought, well, I'm just not going to go to the gym. I'm going to stay here at the house, hunker down, and I'm really just going to wait until everything passes. And I am so glad that I did not go to the next town over and go to the gym, because I would have been screwed. I would have been trapped with no way to get back, because maybe 30 to 45 minutes after I got back in the house, and it was still dark outside, the winds picked up. It picked up so fast, and it's like you could hear just the loudest whistle of the wind going, blowing, I guess, on the sides and the corners of the houses. And my windows, I could see the windows were moving in and out and shaking, and it sounded just like a deep rumble. And I've never heard anything like that from wind. I was like, wow, this is nuts. Well, I finally went back in there and laid down, tried to get some sleep. By this time, the power had went out, so there really was just nothing to do. So I was like, well, I'm going to go back to bed, and I finally dozed off, and I woke back up, y'all, and went outside, and it had gotten light, and it was like, oh my gosh, y'all, it looked like a bomb had went off in my town that I live in, just everywhere. The town I live in, the town beside us, the town below us. I mean, it was a disaster. And so I got out in my car and drove around the neighborhood to see the damage and what it looked like, and I just could not believe it. I have never seen that many, trees all over, huge trees. Trees that are like hundreds of years old fell during this storm and were laying across the road. You'd have one road and have probably 3 or 4 or 5 trees laying down across that road. It wasn't just like one. And when I got out and rode around to get away from my neighborhood to go into town, I was completely trapped. I could not go anywhere because just all the trees had me blocked. And, also the power lines, y'all, like I said, we lost power that night. And where I live, we can lose power easy. So, I was kind of expecting that, but we went outside and looked, and the power lines were just laying all in the road. There was not any standing at all around where I was. The power poles had been snapped in half. That's something I have never seen either. These things were snapped in half, just like dangling on the power line up there, barely hanging on. And it was really, it was so spooky. And the creeks and stuff, they were overflowing. The creek in my backyard was gushing just like a huge waterfall. And not only further down the road, when I was out riding around, there's a creek that had completely overflowed and washed over the whole road. And it was just, I had never seen that creek look like that before. So it was very weird, y'all. And today I'm actually recording this video, y'all, at my parents' house. They live in the upstate of South Carolina, because I have no power at my house still. It's been like 8 days tomorrow, I think. No power. And, we have water though, thank God, but the power should be on here within the next few days. I'm looking very forward to it, but it's been a good experience though, because I've really I don't know, I've been reading a lot and just really kind of studying stuff that I'm interested in during the downtime at home when there's nothing to do. I have my little flashlight. I have oil lanterns everywhere, and I'll be sitting there and just reading, and I get real deep into it too, and I just forget. It makes time go by really, really fast. And also on my property in the backyard, we have a shed that has stuff in it. It's like we have a freezer in it, and it's just some stuff that we own. We have, and beside it, y'all, we have a pecan tree that's probably 40 years old. I mean, it's a big pecan tree, and it completely fell and it crushed that building. So, a few days after the storm, I've been out there cleaning up. We really did a lot of cleaning up. And the town that I live in, y'all, I'm very proud of it because everybody was out there helping clean up the roads. People that was not their job to do. The neighbors would be out on the road with their chainsaws and everything, really cleaning up, trying to clean everything up to make room for, everybody to kind of get back to normal with their lives. And because it's been very abnormal this past week. It's really been a darkness to it. Just a sadness, I guess. And, I don't know of anybody in my specific town area that passed away from the storm. But I'm sure there definitely probably is, because I saw that a lot of people in South Carolina, South Carolina faced a lot of losses of life, in Georgia as well. And also the power outages in South Carolina were very, very, I think they were higher than what they were in Georgia. And after living through this and experiencing this, I feel so bad for the people down at the coast in Florida where the storm made landfall. I can only imagine how brutal that was, because it's so weird. Y'all, a few days ago, I was talking to a friend and I told him that I would love to go hurricane hunting one time, because I have seen a tornado one time from a distance. I watched it and that was so cool. I love weather. Weather's never really scared me that much. And so I just always said I would like to experience a hurricane, and lo and behold, that it happened not long after I said that, and I really have changed my mind. I'm not, I still enjoy learning about them and watching videos and reading about them, but I definitely just don't have that strong urge to put myself back into that situation, especially into something that is more powerful than that, because in our area, it was just a category 1 almost. I think category 1 has to be winds of 100 miles an hour. We were like 95. So, we were right at that line. And I can only imagine living through a category 5. I know back in 1989, before my time, it was right after my parents had married, but Hurricane Hugo made landfall in Charleston on the coast of South Carolina. And I believe it was at category 4. It had reached 5, but when it made landfall, it turned into a 4, and it destroyed so much of the lower part of the state. My mom said that they went down there before Hugo, and then after it was just so different. There's a beach in there called Isle of Palms. She said all the palm trees were gone. They were not there. They had been snapped in half. And she said it was very sad looking and looked very different. And, you ride around my town now, y'all, and still, there's so many, you look up in the woods and all the trees that used to stand, you can see right through so much. You can tell so many of them have fell down. And it's really sad, and you still see the damage on the people's houses. I'm up here filming this at my parents', y'all. They live about 2 hours away from me up north, right before you get into North Carolina, up in the mountains of South Carolina. And we're not far at all from Asheville. So and I know you guys have heard a lot. Well, I don't know if y'all have or not, but I personally have heard a lot about what has happened in Asheville, in Chimney Rock. I've watched videos on it, and it is so sad. And that shocks me to no end, because that is not far from where I grew up, and that is not far from where I am right now, and my family is not far from there. A short distance, if this would have been a short distance, below Asheville, this would have been where I'm sitting right now. It would have been this town. And looking back on those videos, y'all, that was the most destructive and scariest thing I have seen in a long time, just how high that water was, how fast it came in, and just how it took out the whole town. Because I have been to Asheville more times than I can count. I have been to Chimney Rock more times. I could get there with my eyes closed if I have to. It's very familiar territory for me. And just to think that, that happened somewhere that I'm very familiar with, it really just it wakes you up a little bit. It kind of shakes you to your core a little bit, because you realize you're not invincible. that bad things can happen to you, and you have to stay, be on alert, because Mother Nature is no joke. Acts of God are absolutely insane. They are very powerful. We are nothing but mere humans, and we can be killed by things outside of us, such as, weather and anything to do with nature. It can kill us. It can claim us back. It brought us in. It can take us back. So, I have a much more of a deep respect for weather after experiencing Hurricane Helene, because it's something I will never forget, and I have never seen anything like that in my life. I've been looking back at videos on my phone that I took and pictures, and it's just like, I can't believe that, I can't believe it. It's just like it just happened out of nowhere. It was so quick. The day before, everything was fine. I was out shopping, doing stuff, my normal routine. And the next day is like, we're sitting at home. It's pitch black. We have no power. The trees are falling and cracking, and you're trapped at home. You can't go anywhere. And it was just really weird. And especially, y'all, when I went to Main Street, when I drove it to Main Street in the town that I live in, it's like all the trees and they have like, it's like very historical, and they have like old fences. Like a lot of that stuff had just been crushed, and it had been standing there for so long. And to me, that is so sad, because I'm a history lover. I love architecture. I absolutely love plants. So when I see a big, big, big tree that has been blown over, it breaks my heart. I'm such a nerd, because I know how old that tree is, and the things that it has seen, and the things it has been around, and the stories it could tell if it could talk. And I absolutely, that devastates me to see that. And also any loss of life in general, just absolutely, it eats me up. Whether it be a human or an animal, I can't stand that. It really hits me right there, and I get very emotional over hearing stuff like that. And I'm very tenderhearted, I guess, more than I should be. I feel like I really should probably toughen up, but unfortunately this is the way God made me, so I'm stuck with it. But guys, if you were involved in Hurricane Helene or in the flooding in Asheville, in Buncombe County area, my thoughts and prayers go out to you. I understand, the grief you feel and the frustration you feel from dealing with that storm. I absolutely understand. And, I pray for everyone's safety. I hope everyone is okay along with their loved ones. Keep your head up, and we'll be past this. And, even now it's still lingering here, but I'm trying my best to stay positive and to move forward with it, and possibly let this be a big lesson learned to be more appreciative of what I have before it's gone. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Y'all take care, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.